Hello everybody. I finally got round to completing a project, at least painting wise. Northwest Frontier circa 1925. British troops on one of the endless British and Indian troops on one of the endless fights to placate the tribes in that region. I was struck by the Empress figures. I really like them. There's some very nice ones here. I shall start off with what is regarded as the Flashman figure, which is you know, it's got more than a nod to fiction, but I had him down as had I have been in charge in those times, I thought I'd engage in a flight of fantasy. I thought I'd have a nice cherry red kind of robe over my regimental uniform. So I've gone with that, and holding a cigar there, as you see. And the other ones are quite interesting. These are downed, as was often the case, a downed RAF crew. The RAF at that time were being used rather than great numbers of troops to try and overwhelm the frontier tribes who were hostile to the British, and there was a large number of patrols conducted by the RAF and bombing missions, and with some success, but it was the same old story. Once the bombing had stopped, the bad guys, as they were seen at the time, sort of trickled back, and so you had you know, you had certain cases where troops had to go in on the ground to recover shot down aircraft, and Empress do a range of mid-30s RAF figures. I did a kind of red leather overlaid with dry brushing of natural leather, a bit of dry brushing of just an off-white, and then a wash, and yeah, I was quite moderately pleased with the kind of semi-shining leather that I got. I tried to contrast between the boots and the helmets, give it a little bit of contrast there. Anyway, this chap, I've given him he's got a fully lined flying suit, and he's detached the Lewis gun, and yeah, I was reasonably pleased with how that turned out. Got a RAF Indian officer here, which I thought I'd give him a turban in RAF blue. I thought that might have been a touch that they went for at the time. Leather gauntlets and usual basing material, sandy basing material. I set up a small set here. The small flashes on the pith helmets are the flashes of the RAF, so I thought it might be quite nice to have an RAF radio crew, Indian Army chap there dealing with the mule, but the RAF men signalling, as was often the case, ground liaison, and did a kind of RAF blue shirt, which I noticed in a couple of Osprey books. Some of the RAF of the time used to wear their blue shirts, so I thought that would give them a little bit of colour to differentiate between the regular RAF. I've got a Highland regiment here. I painted these up as Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders, as my grandfather was with them in the First World War and just after. I like the facial detail on this chap very much, and I got what I thought was a fairly good khaki Iraqi sand mixture for the uniforms of the time. I know they're in most of the pictures are, well, all of the pictures are generally black and white, but the interpretations I've seen in Osprey books have been you know, very much this colour. It's a simple mortar. A sergeant there. Tried to follow the Argyll and Sutherland Highlanders uniform, and a little feather in the cap. Another one of the mortar crew. Got a British officer here again with the jacket removed and the blue shirt, which was somewhat favoured at the time. Running forward, as I say, Empress figures are quite nice. This is the so-called Jazz Age colonial figures, Indian Army, which I I must admit I did veer a bit towards Hollywood on this on the matter of the Indian troops. I picked up the well-known film The Drum, and a 1930s Alex Calder patriotic piece, and the Indian troops in that were wearing a blue jacket of this shade. Now, whether that film's been colorized subsequently, I think it was actually filmed in color, but can't swear for the accuracy, but I would guess that they probably wouldn't get it so wrong. That just for the sake of, you know, contrast, if nothing else, I went for a bit of change of colour. Similar with the Indian Army gun crew, gone for blue, and chap here with a telescope, and yeah, I was quite pleased again with how they turned out. British officer here. I again got another grandfather who was in the Middlesex regiment, and I thought I'd do a British Line regiment, Middlesex regiment, who were out there at that time in the mid-30s, prominently stationed out there. I think they were one of the regiments that carved their badge into the rocks at the Khyber Pass that you can still see today. If you know, I guess many of us are not likely to get out that direction, but there is a part of the Khyber Pass where there's a large number of British regimental badges carved. Another officer here who's decided to go with the blue shirt, baggy pantaloon trousers. I was quite pleased about the stance, the pose. You know, it makes it very often. I mean, the castings speak for themselves, but the poses seem very much of the time. And got a Vickers machine gun crew here. Gone for a kind of copper bronze cartridge cases, and I mentioned earlier that I had the gun crew I'm afraid I made a bit of a mess of the actual gun. There was no instructions with the kit. There was about, I suppose, 15 or 20 pieces to the kit, and I had to make do with the drawings and sorry, the photographs on the Empress site, and I didn't do too well. I thought I'd assembled it correctly, and then found that I'd assembled the 4.5-inch field gun incorrectly. And so I tried to disassemble it, and yeah, I'd used super glue and made a bit of a mess of it. And in the end, ended up sticking my fingers together more than anything else. But yeah, I can't. I mean, it's probably my failing rather than Empress Miniatures, but I could have done with a small diagram just to put me right. It's the same thing happened actually. I'll just show you the armoured car. I've got a Crossley armoured car, and I also got a I think it was I think the other one was perhaps an Austin of some sort, and I found them. You've got an axle at the front there, and at the back it was just a matter of sticking the wheels to. I mean, this is all super glued on, but that and the fenders, wheel arches, whatever you choose to call them, I found it a little bit lacking in finesse, shall we say. I've always done plastic model kits, and I don't know, you chaps may be able to tell me if this is the way resin kits are, but I tried to clean it up, but I found it a little bit fussy, shall we say. As I say, this is probably nothing to do with Empress, but more to do with my modelling abilities. Again, got a Piper here. A bit of wash. I always finish off with a bit of Vagrax Earthshade, and I was reasonably pleased. I mean, they're not too difficult in the scheme of things. There's a lot of khaki on there. But they're brightened up a little bit by the tartan, and we have a stretcher bearer. I did like doing these. I mean, I must admit. I suppose that's the main thing. I enjoyed actually doing these models. Enjoyed painting them, and I can't say that about all kits that I get, but I particularly enjoyed doing these. And I had one or two period photographs of Gordon Highlanders in the northwest frontier, and they look great men, really. They look like the best of British soldiers, really. I don't know, it's not about the pith helmet. I'm quite fond of that. I think it sets off the uniform very, very well. Managed to put a bit more detail into the rifles than I would have done in the past. I mean, I think I started off with Airfix. Everything was just a chocolate brown, and then I started to going for a bit more detail gradually, barrels and what have you. Got another Lewis gun here. That did come with a stand, but again, it's gone missing somewhere. Black with a little bit of metallic dry brushing over it. Seemed to set it off reasonably well. And yeah, again, Argyll and Sutherland Highlander. I was generally happy with the shade. As I say, a bit of a khaki drab, Iraqi sand, a mixture which slightly lightened for the helmets, but I was generally quite pleased how they came out. They seem to look right. I mean, I don't know if it's coming across the video, but it did seem to actually capture the right colour, according at least to the Osprey books. There wasn't much in Osprey. There was a little bit in the Northwest Frontier book, but you know, we're talking very much about uniforms that came out of the First World War and didn't change a great deal until about 1939, and then weapons and equipment started to be upgraded. Another Highlander there carrying that's ammunition, or possibly it may well be, for all I know, it may be water. Put the War Department arrow on that. I've noticed that on quite a lot of the equipment. You know, picked out the water canteen in a chocolate brown, which seemed to be one of the colours. I got a book which I showed in a previous video of British Empire uniforms from this interwar period, and yeah, I was able to get much of the detail from that, and quite pleased with the as I say, with my research, which is not always of the highest order. The socks, at least the top of the socks, I noticed some troops did have them in a kind of checkered, red and white checkered style, but not all of them. And as I don't do checkered socks very well, I went with what the majority had, which was very much just a green, khaki green, or military green. A little bit of brass on there on the buckles, and as I say, once again, the pith helmet. I did buy a pith helmet. I was going to wear it, but I I lack the courage. These things are made out in Vietnam, and you can buy on Amazon pretty much original style pith helmets. Yeah, wonderful piece of kit. And also they do a Zulu War one, and they also do a Africa Corps one, which comes complete with sand goggles in a kind of off green colour. And I was going to go for a collection of those at one point, but decided that it was going to take up so much room that it's probably not a good idea. I particularly like this figure, pointing forward. As I was saying, it's the uniforms do really tie in quite well with the base material. Quite pleased with that. That's I always like to get to that stage. I know I'm finished once I've done that, and put a bit of liquid glue on there, basing glue, and you know, it's actually always a pleasure to finish. I do a coat of gloss varnish, and then a coat of anti-shine matte varnish, which seems to you know, it does kill the gloss varnish stone dead, and it gives me a better finish than I would normally get with just going straight in with the varnish. I don't handle the figures greatly. You know, they tend to get not gamed with. I'm sorry to say, but they do tend to get just put away after finishing, and so I'm okay with 2 coats of varnish. Another British Line Infantry. As I say, I was pleased that I managed to get a little bit more, you know, into the rifles, the bayonets and the hilts, and yeah, I was overall fairly pleased with that effect. I've just recently purchased the Warlord Games Roman Invasion of Britain set, which I intend to do an unboxing of. It's been out for a number of years, but it's one that recently dropped down under £50, so I thought I would go for that when it went sub £50, because it has been up there at 70, £75 in some cases. And you know, I've not got passionate interest in that period, but interested in any period of British history, really. Tend to be less fond of foreign armies, you know, for obvious reasons. Stick with you know, what I know, what I can get some research material on. And yeah, finishing up now really with the Highlanders. Managed to get a little bit of character in the face. My face painting doesn't really involve very much beyond a straightforward barbarian flesh, followed by a sort of a lightish brown at the side of the noses and under the nose and under the chin. I read this somewhere once a long time ago, and then I go in with the eyes and the moustache and the mouth, and try to make them not to be looking insanely into the camera. So yeah, you know, for myself, I'm quite happy with how it turns out. They're not, you know, they don't bear up to much scrutiny, but I managed to get some eyes in there, and you know, it doesn't look too bad in my estimation. And the kit, just a slight variation in the khaki for the. I know some of the webbing was very green. Some of the other webbing was very much a similar colour to the actual uniform. So you know, there was a lot of variation because a lot of the kit was old, and some of the kit was very faded by the time you know, you'd got to the 1930s, and so certain amount of poetic license. You know, love Highlanders, of course. Always love a good Highlander. And you know, pleased to have completed these. Not too long. I mean, it was a few months. I don't get an awful lot of time to get stuck into them, but I certainly don't sit and paint for hours as I did when I was much younger. But I gave these my best shot, and yeah, I was overall quite glad to have chosen Empress, but I just didn't get on with the field gun, the assembly of, and the well, the armoured car. I mean, I've still got to work on that, but you know, I'm hopeful I'll be able to bring that up to standard. Actually, I do have a Matchbox Rolls-Royce armoured car from the period that I picked up. I think it cost me £3 at a car boot sale, and although that is gloss finished, it's quite a nice model. I'll just one more of these, and Highlander, and again the stretcher bearer. Stretcher bearer with the leather medical case, as advised by my research, and leather pistol holder. I think that's about it, and one more of the line infantry. I do love the the washes. I mean, I think they were once described as talent in a bottle. Well, I need all the help I can get, so I'm no problem with that. Yeah, it was actually, you know, it finishes them off nicely in my estimation. I tend to thin the Agrax Earthshade down a little bit, and these came with separate arms for some reason, but there wasn't actually a lot you could you could do with the arms other than put them on all approximately in the same position. So that represents what I've been up to. As I say, I'm probably going to go right the other end of history now and do the Warlord Games box, but I'll do an unboxing of that first. I hope this finds everybody well, and I know there's a couple of classic car shows coming up now, and I hope that they might follow on with a few shows, wargaming shows. Maybe that's pushing it a bit because the car shows are out in the open, of course, but I'm kind of hopeful that we might see at least one show this year, but we'll see anyway. Thanks very much, guys.